रम्यकाशीश महेश्वराय तस्मै नमः स्वामी तपोवनाय तस्मै नमः स्वामी तपोवनाय Let's start anyway. So today is Tapon Maharaj's Aradhana day, right? His remembrance, his smriti. We'll start in study group. So you remember there is this anecdote that we hear with Gurudev asked a question to Tapon Maharaj. You remember that anecdote where, and then Tapon Maharaj ji asked Gurudev to bring water, a cup of water. You remember that? Anybody? Yeah, the cup of water without using a cup, right? So then you cannot, right? You cannot carry water by itself. So what we are doing is avastatraya vichara, and earlier we did shariratraya vichara. So what this acharyas, what the Shastra is trying to reveal us is pure consciousness, but it cannot be revealed by words, right? Just like Tapon Maharaj ji used that example. It cannot be revealed by words, just like that. So this method is being used to introduce that pure consciousness. When you say pure consciousness, don't think somewhere else. Oh, pure means somewhere. No, here, we ourselves, okay? So that pure consciousness, that is me, is being introduced with a container. So what are the containers here? What are the containers we started? We have stated Shariratrayam. Shariratrayam is a container. It's a disposable cup. You need a disposable cup. You drink the water, throw away the water. I mean, throw away the cup, not the water, right? So here also, when we started the 3 states, it's a container. It has to be introduced like that. Otherwise, how will you understand my real true nature? So I consume the water, drop of the cup. So what are the different cups are being introduced? One is the waking state cup, the Vishwa cup. And of course, in the Shastra, we see the pair, right? Vishwa Virat. So that Vishwa Virat cup is being introduced again to teach us what the true nature is, consciousness. So Chaitanyam alone is called Vishwa, right? When it is associated with waking state, that we haven't started that, I think, right? Same thing in the dream state, that same Chaitanyam, that is me, not somewhere in the clouds, me only. That is what Vedanta is. We should not say, not on the BMI chart. Not on the BMI chart also. It is me, me Chaitanyam is being introduced with different cups, disposable cups. Now Swapna cup will come next. Prajna cup. Swapna cup means, I mean, that state, the consciousness associated with the Swapna state, right? It's called Taijasa cup will come. Prajna cup also will come. But all the cups are to be, what will we do the cups?
Use and throw.
Huh? You will keep the cups?
Use and throw.
Okay, but how will you throw this cup? This Shariram is a cup. Can you? Okay, that can be thrown finally after a few years. Definitely, you can't. But how will you throw the other cups? The Sukshma Shariram cup, the Jagrata Avastha cup, the Swapna cup, the deep sleep cup, the Vishwa Virat pair cup. How are you going to throw it? How are you going to dispose it?
No idea.
Can we really dispose them? Is it a disposable cup or not, actually?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay,
by doing our karmas.
Okay. So to a certain extent, I can dispose it of. How? How to a certain extent? Okay, the dispose. Anyway, we'll go to the lesson now proper. So I just wanted to remember Tapovan Maharaj with that example. So disposable is done in a different manner, not a physical disposal, right? It's a disposal in the form of gnanam we are doing. That's what is ready group. The gnanam disposal, right? Mithyatvam, we are converting everything into mithya. It is not there. That itself is disposal. Mithyatva nischayam, they call it, right? That itself is a form of disposal, not a physical disposal. Because it is consciousness is totally integrated with me. I can't separate it and then dispose the other part, the anatma part. Understanding that itself is enough. That itself is realization. In fact, Vedanta says knowledge itself is realization. There is no other realization other than knowledge, they say. Right? So everything else, the three pairs that we're going to see are negated. And what remains is pure PC. What is PC? Pure consciousness. Right? And that not somewhere else in the clouds. It is here with me. Okay, let's do the invocation now. Who is doing it? Aparna, do it.
वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते.
So we finished the first paragraph, right? Let's go to, let somebody read the Jagrata Avastha Ka, and then we can start the first state. Who wants to start? Leave on it. Everybody has the book, all of the book online at least again, maybe Shashank can share it if you want. Manoj, start. You can open it when Shashank shares it, the link, you can open it and then you can use it. Or I can share it. I can share the screen if you want.
The waking state, is that what I'm reading?
Yes.
Do you want me to read the shloka also? At least attempt to read it.
Try it, do it.
Jagratavastha ka Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi Shabdadi Vishayaischa Jnayate iti yasa Jagratavastha Stula Shariravi Mani Atma Vishya Ityuchate.
Atma Vishwa Ityuchate.
Atma Vishwa Ityuchate. What is the waking state? That state of experience in which the sense objects like sound are perceived through the sense organs like the ears in the waking state. The self identifying with the gross body is called Vishwa. Waking is the state of experience where my entire personality is awake and fully functioning. I identify with all the three bodies and experience the world through them. The waker is therefore called Vishwa, complete or all-inclusive. I am identified with the gross body only in the waking state and not in the dream or deep sleep state. And therefore, it is mentioned that in the waking state, I identify with the gross body. It is not possible to function through the gross body without identifying with the subtle and causal bodies. I cannot read or hold this book without my mind backing my eyes and hands. Since the gross body, which is the counter of experience, is open. I don't know what that means. All transactions happen through it. The objects in the waking world are experienced through the sense organs as being outside the body. The book that you hold does not seem to be within you, but outside you. I act with the notion of doership, kartratvam, and thereby enjoy the results, bhoktrutvam. The waking world seems to be solid and real. Objects and events seem to have a cause-effect relationship. They have their uses and functions according to some laws. I wake up each day to the same familiar world. I therefore give the waking state a greater reality and importance. I form attachments to objects and beings and enjoy or suffer them. However, I dismiss my dreams as unreal because I see them as a figment of my imagination.
Hmm.
So I think they're explaining our day-to-day experiences when we wake up, and more from a perspective of observing what we experience when we wake up. We see the world. We actually create the world when we wake up, because when we are sleeping, there is no world, and then and it's almost like a unbroken chain from your previous waking state to the current waking state, and this cycle goes on and on. I think Swamiji is explaining how we do not identify dream as real, but and give more substance to the waking state. That's my understanding.
Right. So that is introduction also to the dream state. But what is the state called here?
Vishwa.
I mean, not the state, sorry. What the self identifying with the gross body is called Vishwa. So the name of the consciousness itself is called Vishwa. The name of the consciousness in association with the Stula Sharira in the Jagrata Avastha is called Vishwa. Why it is called Vishwa? Why it is called Vishwa? Vishwa means what?
World.
So
in the waking state, it's seemingly we experience the maximum world, right?
Right.
So
right.
It's easier to say we are experiencing the world when we are awake than to say in any other condition we may have.
Right. So there is a complete identification with the waking world, with the Indriyas. That Abhimanam is total, complete, right? In Jagrat, of course, we know, right? Abhimanam with the Indriyas. Indriyas means, of course, including the Golakams that you have seen. So Deha Abhimana is total. So it's called Purna Vikasa, right?
So I have a doubt. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I have a doubt here. The self identifying with the gross body is then called Vishwa. No. But all the while we are only talking about what is not self, what is anatma. All, I mean, in the negating process, we are, coming down to what exactly is atma. So if we see here the self identifying with the gross body, and it is also said Vishwa is complete or all inclusive. So does that mean that Vishwa state or condition, or I don't know how to describe that, is inclusive of Atma? Why that self they have added here? So it's little confusing for me.
It shouldn't be confusing, but then the good question is good. It shouldn't, because we are all senior chick students. It shouldn't be confusing us. We are not junior chicks. We are not. Just kidding. That's okay. That's fine. Anybody?
It should always be confusing. Otherwise, there is no thought exercise. If it is as
It's fine.
clear as
Doubts can be there.
there
Yes,
is
true.
no senior nor junior. Senior people will have a lot of book knowledge
Oh, okay.
and repeat all Swamijis.
So you always want to be a junior. That's the attitude is good, also good. So that
Once I know, I'll be senior. I'll not attend the class.
that's true. No, you can still do it. Why not? Just for Nididhyasanam.
Anyway, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Anybody? The answer?
Answer is simple. We, as human beings, experience the world. This is no different thing that I mean to say somebody has to tell us or a book has to tell us. We experience every day. So this experiencing is self-recognized. And then what the Shastra has been telling is something trying to indicate the experiencer in various experiences that we go through. So we go through knowingly or unknowingly every day we go through Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha and Sushupti Avastha. All these three we will go through. I mean, that is no difference to each other. We know that one, isn't it? We're very masters in that. But what is actually the Shastra has been indicating here is try to see that one you are a complete experiencer in the Jagrata Avastha because you have all the three bodies working. You have studied the three bodies already. And this state of experiencing where most of the Abhimana means where we have been totally identified with is the Sthula Sharira. Even though all the three bodies are functioning in the Jagrata Avastha, we mainly operate from the gross body. And that's the reason, I mean to say, the very experiencing of the world is through the ayatana, which we have studied in the three shariras, that will be happening through the body. So everything we feel it very strong. I mean to say it is very pratyaksha pramana is like that. With our indriyas, we have been contacting the world and we are reciprocating with our karmendriyas, and thereby we are creating an experience, and each of these experiences are enjoyed by this experiencer. The kartrutva and bhoktritva bhava, the whole story has been given in that definition. But it is what we are doing every day. Very simple reflection. I'll stop there if there are any questions, if it is not simple.
You mentioned the word ayatana. What is the meaning of that?
Wonderful. Ayatana means the counter, as Swamiji has been talking about. When we go to a supermarket, there is a counter from where we interact with the owner of the supermarket or something. The same way, the very Kartru or the Karta and the Bhokta of the world, who is the Vishwa, the counter is this body, where
So
all these
ayatana means golakas only.
No, ayatanam we have seen, right, Rajni, in the the gross body definition, you must remember. Oh, I hope you all
Okay,
remember.
okay.
Ayatana.
But is the Golaka different from the Ayatana?
Sorry.
Golaka.
No, they are not different from the Ayatanam. They are part of the Ayatanam. Golakas are part of the Ayatanam.
Golakam is a placeholder, and Indriyam is one that is behind the Golakam. Yes. Like ear Golakam, ear Indriyam. Eye Golakam, eye
And which
Indriyam.
is Ayatanam? Both
Ayatanam is a tenement. Tenement. Just the tenement. They call it tenement.
Okay.
Yeah, you can feel that Golaka is part of Ayatanam. There is nothing wrong in it. Because when we have seen that Adhisthana Devatas and everybody, isn't it?
True.
Indriya Adhisthana Devatas and everybody there. And I thought that you might have covered that part. So the very thing is that Golakas are actually not conscious, not even able to really recognize anything in the world.
Okay, I'm slightly deviating. We say in one of the sloka, Ayatanamam Bhavati.
Yeah, that
is there any
Mantra Pushpam, yeah.
Mantra.
That is Adhara. Yeah. That is the very basis, Ayatanavan Bhavati. And he takes it from each of the various steps within the Adhara for this whole universe. Mantra Pushpa is something like where we will be seeing the Lord as the Adhara in various forms, like Kala, like Nakshatra, like Bhumi, like Apa. He will take it into all the elements and then he makes it that he is the Adhara. But that is a deviation from here. But yeah, you are right.
It's a different
so
context.
When we say that Ayatamana Bhavati means what?
Ayatanavan Bhavati means this one has become the very Adhara for the existence here. We can, Mantra Pushpam, we can go into a different discussion, but it needs some introduction also to get there.
Okay, I was just playing with the word. Let's not take it anymore.
No. In Sanskrit, the same word
has different meanings.
Different meaning in a different context.
Yeah.
And it is contextual. And that's what when Manoj was talking about the confusion part, I think the confusion in going to the Sanskrit text will be understanding the context of that one. That's where we need Guru to know the Vachartha. And of course, the Lakshartha also. Lakshartha is totally dependent upon the Shrota, the preparation of the Shrota.
Okay, thank you.
So, Aparna, repeat the answer to your question.
Can you repeat both question and answer?
Okay, no, I knew only the answer.
I didn't understand even the question.
Even now.
Even now, it's not very clear to me, Bhaiya, for my intellect. I'm really not able to connect this self with the gross is equal to Vishwa is something that is coming to my mind. But how do we take out that self? Because we are talking about all anatmas only, now.
Even though we are talking about anatmas, but the underlying consciousness is being in a way pointed out, right? Isn't it? All through our vichara, we are negating the anatma part to come finally to establish what we really are, the sakshi part, isn't it? So as I said in the beginning, different names different names reveal consciousness associated with one anatma or the other. So Vishwa is a name for the consciousness associated with one anatma. You know that which anatma, the stula shariram or the jagrata avastha anatma, right? So when I am saying I am the experiencer, in a commonly we say, right? In jagrata avastha, I means what? I am experiencing means what? Three components are there. What are the three components? The chit, the pure consciousness, right? And then the one that reflects the chit. What is it? The shariram, the sukshma shariram. It reflects the chit. That's why it's called chidabhasa, we call it. That is the second component, isn't it? And what is the third component? Simple. The experiencer requires all these three components, right? So the chit, the consciousness, the sunlight, let's say, the reflecting medium, this body, which is the mind, and then the reflection itself. The reflection itself is the third component. That is the three. So those three components are always required for an experience. So in a waking state, even though I am using my mind, let's say, all my indriyas, even though, but then without that sunlight and without the reflection, can an experience happen? Let's say sunlight is just a drishtanta I'm saying. Can the experience happen? No. So all these three components put together is called the I, the experiencer, right? Without these three components, the experience cannot happen. But then the main thing is that I, the chit, the sunlight, without which no experience can happen. And so that consciousness associated with these other two components, that name is called Vishwa. Without that, no experience can happen. So finally, we have to arrive at that. Even though I'm using these two, they are useless without that.
Otherwise, the same thing that what Chandrasekhar told is that one, that I, the you, who is experiencing in the waking state is called Vishwa. Simply, simple definition here it has been given is the I, who is the experiencer in the waking state, is called Vishwa.
That same consciousness, the name given to that is Vishwa, because it is all the sense organs are totally functioning, unlike in dream or deep sleep, they're totally functioning, right? So that's why it's called external. That's why the name used is here is.
I just want to say one point for Aparna's question. Although we are using the word self here to explain the three states, we are still trying to, I mean, the main point still lies there that those three states are not the self. We are still sticking to that same concept. It's just that we are using the self to explain those three states, but we are still sticking to the underground rule saying that those three states are not the self.
In fact, those three states are enlivened by the self. Without the self, those three states cannot exist. That means self is there in all those three states and beyond.
I think the word substratum.
Ayatanavan, as I think Rajniji told before, the self is the ayatana here, the behind, for all these three states and beyond also.
This adhisthanam or substratum, somebody was telling, yes, the word substratum. In the chick days, what is substratum? What is this substratum? Nice sounding word. We used to say that is adhisthanam, right? The rope is the substratum, adhisthanam for the snake, right? That is adhisthanam, the support.
So the mind that gets confused, right? That itself is, you're saying, as anatma, right? You are not the mind, you're beyond it. And we've heard that many times. Now, mind as an instrument, it's doing its job, right? It just like Gurudev says that you put electricity in a fan, it spins, you put in a bulb, there's light. So the mind is doing its job. The consciousness is, whether it's expressed through the mind, you see a rope or a dog or whatever it is, right? Now, again, these questions have come to me much later, before I used to just nod my head and say, yeah, that's true. It's different. Consciousness is here and it is something else. And then I was also listening and kind of looking at like the Shankara Bhashya, and we have the Purva Pakshi and the Siddhanti, and then there is a discussion between the two. And we are talking about an experience in itself. I said, where do you experience? Where do you see? You need to have the knowledge of, right? Where does that knowledge of come, right? I mean, in the sense, various masters have given different definitions. Even I think Dayananda Saraswati kind of deviated a little bit by saying that, hey, can you experience God through your nose or ears? It has to be knowledge on your intellect, right? Where there's nothing beyond. So when we, we are talking about people who have spent time asking these questions. So to me, simply saying, or when I watch a lot of Discovery channels where the lion attacks the deer and kills, there seems to be so much of, destruction, killing, and all that stuff. And then immediately we would say the higher self and the lower self and this Maya. And, I mean, I understand words, but I am freaking confused, man. I mean, in the sense, as I read more and more thoughts of different people, to me, it's a good thought exercise. I mean, it gives me some happiness when I think about these things, but I have no understanding at all, as clearly as you guys are telling me. I'm sorry.
Sure. That is how we begin with. That's a good state to start with. And your jignasa is there. That is enough. Keep it up. I can see the jignasa there. You want to know. That is enough. Okay. Because, as you said, it is all Shabdajalam, Maharanyam, Chitta Brahmana Karanam. Shankara himself says it is all a jungle of words. Chitta Brahmanam.
It's exactly right. And then I have been reading a lot about atheism and organized religion. I don't want to deviate too much, but and they are intellectuals, they are not fools. They have analyzed various, we are Hindus, we read our Shastras, we accepted Advaita, so we are going down this path. But there are so many thoughts and so many philosophies. Some guy says Hinduism way of life and we accept every religion and all that nonsense. We actually don't. We don't accept a different thought within our own religion. So,
right. So, got it. So your question started with how does the knowledge take place, and then of course and then we got into.
Sorry for a digression. Let's keep at it. At some point maybe I'll have a little bit of elevated understanding.
True. It happens. Understanding happens.
No, you are free. I mean, we know for years together. This platform is free to talk. No hesitation.
No, I don't hesitate, but I don't want to derail what people are trying to.
I'm here,
No, nothing to derail here. It's good. And for others' understanding also, questions are very good. Yes, anybody?
Chandrasekhar.
So,
when the self, when we are talking the self, and body and the external objects, and again coming to the snake and the rope, again coming to the deer and the lion, everywhere, even self is there in lion, deer, rope, snake, but only thing we forget that the lion is attacking the deer, but the self is both way. The self is attacking the self maybe. And
so
this
my question is, how do you forget? Even to forget and remember, you're using your instrument called mind. So mind itself is an instrument, right? So at what level are you? I mean, Raja, I'm not trying to be rude, okay? But when I say you, it's not you. But what I'm saying is, at what level are we thinking? Oh, I didn't understand. Your understanding is through your intellect, which is again you're saying is anatma, right?
The mind is tricking there. Yeah, that's why it's called. The Swamiji's, everybody say the mind, the game of mind. It is everything in the mind.
Yeah, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayoho. That is there, but Manoj, to come back to your thing, yes, mind is the instrument. There is no question in that. Mind is the instrument to know or to get bonded. To get relieved or get bonded. It is up to us. So I think we can get bonded with our own tie-up with that mind, or we can get freed by aligning this one with the Shastra. So any Shastra is fine. One is the one that which one need to take and go to deeper into that one. Fortunately, we have been with Gurudev and we got this Advaita Shastra. And if we can go to the bottom of it, it's crystal clear. And I don't want to say that one that it is like difficult. I think maybe 30 years back we discussed this with some of us. It is crystal clear. And the same way that I think even now, instead of going into the words, if we go into our own self as we go into the Shastra, that is the prakriya actually given. Even in Tattva Bodha, the Tattva Bodha happens here through the mind alone. Even Bhakti happens here through the mind alone, through the mind we call emotional mind, the heart. Everything happens here only. Those are only the inspirations which bring that prakriya when we follow that one properly. And I think our problem is when we don't follow it, we want to see that what I want to see, probably we will be missing something that what the Shastra has been indicating. Just a thought.
Yeah, good. That's what we're doing. Atma Vichara itself is Shastra Vichara. The inquiry into Shastra itself is Atma Vichara. That's true. So we make Stula Sharira inquiry we are doing now, the mind inquiry we did, Sukshma Sharira, all that inquiries to a limited extent. You're not going to the anatomy like a doctor, like Dr. Raja did, right? Not going to the anatomy, where to a limited extent we inquire. Our aim is to not to dwell upon them, but then cross over. This crossover also is not, again, it's not intellectual gymnastic, of course, right? Atma inquiry is Shastra Vichara, right? But now coming back, so Atma's here in this, there is an Atma's contribution, right? Alone is not enough for the knowledge to happen. The so-called knowledge in the waking state that is happening, right? So knowledge requires another equally important contribution from Anatma, the body-mind, sense complex, right? The Anatma. So body-mind, BMI contributes to every knowledge by what? By generating an appropriate thought. I am seeing you. Mind, my sense organs are focused on Manoj. So Manoj thought, Kishore thought. But behind that, so that contribution is there. From the Anatma's contribution is generating the thought. But thought is inert. Behind that, the chit, the consciousness has to be there. Equally important is that for that waking state. So that is why that consciousness associated with the waking state is called Vishwa. Okay. Shall we move on? So without that consciousness...
Aparna is clear of her doubt?
Yes, Bhaiya.
Yeah, without that consciousness...
I think so.
Okay, continue. Let's see. Anything else here in the waking state? Because once we go into dream and deep also, then we can still understand more clarity about waking state also we can get. As we go
I object, my lord, I object. In dream and deep sleep, you can't get anything. In only Jagrata Avastha, you can learn.
We can extrapolate the analysis.
Yeah, this I think somewhere they said, stop thinking without falling asleep, right? Then.
Indivar had a question now, I think. It was fine.
Yeah, today no questions.
So everybody is clear on the waking state, because it's crystal clear, waking state. What more can we?
I'm in waking state.
It is all knowing and doing transactions. I'm a karta, bhokta, everything is happening. I know I'm a gnata, I'm a pramata. I know, I do things, and then I get I become a samsari. I cry, I laugh, I have joys, I have sorrow, sukha, dukkha, everything is going on. Samsaritvam is there. That is God's waking state, right? So from the standpoint, that's why it's the external, it is called, right? From the standpoint of the body, external, but not with regard to the consciousness. Consciousness is everywhere, right? That is my real nature. Then, anything else here? Anybody? Any more questions?
Actually, the other thing I just wanted to add, like to Manoj's point, like as we read through, I think right now we just understand the literal meaning, the words of it. Maybe later we like go on repeating this knowledge. Maybe at some point we might understand. Because yesterday also in Bal Vihar, because we're doing this wherein the story of, you know, the Yaksha Prashna. So in that, one of the thing is like, you know, what is the word which wields the world? So the answer was ignorance. So Bal Vihar, usually we give so it's somewhat like a game. So they have to answer it. So one of the word was worlds, if it is wield, what it is. And they said ignorance. And the other one was like, what is the one which stops the knowledge to shine? And the answer was laziness. So we explained something in the book, like how they gave, like saying that if you're wearing a green glasses, you see the green and everything. But a 9th grader, 2 of them explained it so well, saying the example of the rope and the snake. So it's like, you know, it's not that junior chicks or anybody who's like, I think most of them know it, but how well it goes into them, it's like, like, again, it's our own effort, like how much we go over. So that's what I wanted to share. Like, you know, I think nowadays the younger generation also, they know a lot.
You got me.
Thing is,
good.
Yeah.
I want to say one quick thing about books and Gurudev. I'll just take a minute. To me, Puja Gurudev is more than a father to me. You know, when I was completely distraught, I thought he gave me a framework to face my challenges. Okay, so that being said, you know, I have faith that anything I try and imbibe, it makes me a better man. I'm happier, you know, in simple terms, you know, I'm happier. Forget about realizing and all that stuff, you know, kept aside. But, my faith my love for Gurudev is always growing, you know, every time I listen to him, or I become happier. I find some kind of like a framework improvement to live my life a little bit better. Okay. Having said that, the confusions are totally different, right? I mean, that is my mind and my habit of kind of delving into various things. And so I just, it's not lack of faith in anything that Chinmaya Mission or anything but he's saying, because every step, it only makes me a better man. So I when I question or ask, it is an expression of my confusions, and my confusions increase. You know, I've been around for reading for 20 years. It doesn't mean it has decreased. I have read a lot more to confuse myself. So,
True.
I just want to make sure that the dichotomy I have, kind of explained. Yeah.
So confusions.
It's tons of knowledge, but the ounce of practice. We should. With what we learn, let us start practicing small part of it. Then you take one quality and others follow automatically. And that is what we should start doing it, instead of gaining more and more knowledge, and it confuses more. And
it is not. I absolutely agree with you, but I cannot stop myself. You're saying, okay, stop it and start practicing, you know. And also, if you see sadhana panchakam and all that, dustarkatsu viramyatam strutimatas tarkonu sandhiyatam, you know, follow the shastra. Yeah, but I can't, you know, sometimes I have questions. What can I do?
You're absolutely right. And Gurudev says that one in every talk, he makes it very clear, don't even trust me. In fact, one of the greatest quality that I have really appreciate Gurudev is he says that one, don't trust me. It is the question that you suspect and you question and you arrive at.
Yes,
there is nothing wrong in questioning.
Yeah, no, he gives me the strength to question, actually. You know, I consider it as his blessing to allow me to question, you know, instead of just being a mullah.
Yeah.
So Aparna, we are all with you. Please ask questions. I mean, the more anybody asks, the more we think. Because you were right. The first sentence, opening sentence said the self is not these three states. And immediately here it is said. But the key word here is the self identifying with the gross body. If it identifies, it's like gold. If you are identifying it as an ornament for the ear, then you name it earring. So if it is identifying with something, it is called Vishwa. It is not the self is that. Okay, so you gave a lot of thought provocation for all of us. So keep asking.
Good, good. Yeah. And
that's the individual job, questioning.
He's passing the baton to all of us. Because she's the next one to take the class.
Okay. Yeah. Next Sunday, right? Not the class. The Chikrile, yeah, talk. So this is where in the waking state. Shall we move on? Or so this is where the sense of individuality is more prominent, right? Before we go to Swapna and Sushupti, the individuality, the free will is very active. That's why we become doer, the kartrutvam and bhoktrutvam, right? I have this, I act with the notion of doership, kartrutvam, and thereby also enjoy the results, bhoktrutvam. That means there's a lot of free will also involved here, right? Okay. And what else? The waking world seems to be solid and real. Seems to be solid. Gurudev is like, he's asking, making us think, see? He's saying it is not solid and real. Guruji is saying, seems to be solid and real. That we'll understand when we go to dream. That's why I said, when you go to dream and deep sleep, when you analyze that, when you come back to waking, you apply the same principle. Then that word understand, you will understand it seems to be solid and real. I hope somebody was going to raise that question, but that's fine. That's okay. We'll move. What? It is solid and real, isn't it? Why are you saying seems to be? That should be the question. See, Guruji is also nudging us slowly to think. Okay. Objects and even seem to have a cause-effect relationship. Seem to have, he's saying, cause-effect relationship. They have their uses and functions according to some laws. We wake up each day to the same familiar world. I therefore give the waking state a greater reality and importance. And I form attachments to objects and beings and enjoy or suffer them. See, that's the important part of it. You have to highlight that. However, I dismiss my dreams as unreal. And that's why I said, when you go to dreams, we dismiss them as unreal. The same thing can be applied here. Just like I create a dream and then I wake up and dismiss it. Shut up, it's just a dream. See, I don't even have a guilt if I've done something wrong in the dream. Do I have a guilt? I don't even go to a temple to do prayaschitta for the dream karma that I did. I just dismiss it, right? No? Same thing. Okay, Vyavahara, as far as Vyavahara is concerned, keep your mind clean, keep your vasana, they have to be properly tuned. The Daivi Sampat has to be kept on increasing. As far as Vyavahara is concerned, everything goes on. But I am always pure. Even in the waking state, can I dismiss, like in the dream state? That is the crux of Vedanta. I am not that. I keep on improving my mind. I keep on improving my mental state as long as I'm alive. Even a Gnani, even he has emotional disturbances, right? But then he knows how to contain it. It will not spill over to his words and his actions. He knows how to contain it because this sadhana chatushtayam that we have seen earlier, he has that in large measure. Same Gnani has emotional disturbances. Can we also apply that? Keep on refining your mind, but mind's problems are not yours. Mind's confusions are not yours. You are always free. That's what it's saying. You are that chit, the consciousness, always free. You're not bound by any of these karmas. Can you claim that? That is what Vedanta is asking us. Shastra is asking, can you claim that status? Mind is a confused status. It is not that you, it is not you. The mind confusions are not yours. Body is going through pain. I can say it is not mine. Gnani has that facility easily. He has confusion. He has mental problems. He has emotional problems. But he has a facility to shift to that Sakshi Bhava. Unlike us, we are in Ahankara Bhava. That is the crux of Vedanta. Okay, let's move on. Anybody? Anything else?
Yeah, can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So we know a little bit and we understand that all this world, all this seems to be permanent, but it's impermanent, the cause-effect relationship and the external world, materialistic world, all this. But still we are asked to carry out our karma, our functions, so dedicatedly. Suppose if I take any profession, your profession, my profession, any profession for that matter, we have to involve, we have to transact, and we have to carry out our functions, though we know that it is not permanent, that it's not going to give me happiness. And why do we have to again and again carry on with this kind of, actions and transactions and keep on increasing our vasanas? Where can we really put a full stop and say enough is enough?
You can.
I mean, like,
right,
it's a duty or responsibility, whatever we say, we have to, suppose I have to see a patient, cure a patient, I have to do it. I keep on doing, whether I gain the fruits of action, whether I gain papa, punya, whatever it is. But we are asked to carry out all these karmas throughout our lives, even the Shastras say. But on the other side, I feel it's a little contradictory. All this is impermanent, nothing is real, everything is impermanent. And I really don't know why we have to do all this.
The answer to this is again simple. We have seen it even in Yuva Kendra days, many questions, such questions we have discussed. I think many of you relate to that. Anybody? Yeah.
This is a wonderful question. I mean, the question is such a thing that as if that we are working, I mean to say, are doing the things right now as per the Shastra. What Shastra has been telling or what Bhagavan has been telling is, do them according to your dharma or according to the right thing. What he is trying to say is to align with the balance or align with that consciousness within, so that the doership will diminish. So that's what he has been starting in the beginning. But at the end, the question is that there is no doing at all. There is no experiencer at all. What we have talked about, all these experiences in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state are only to that abhimani. In all these three things, there is an Abhimani who is attached to, which I think Rajniji also told that before that we read that one. Only that one goes through these experiences, who is an experiencer, is a false one. So for that experiencer, that doer, that enjoyer, Bhagavan has been telling that one, hey, beware, you can go wrong while doing whatever you want. So go according to the Shastra or according to the Dharma. There you are aligning with your consciousness, and thereby you will get matured enough to understand who you are. You are not the doer at all. And as in Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says it very clearly, I mean to say that doership is to the Prakriti, not to the consciousness at all. And this goes on. And guna guneshu vattante iti matva na sajjate is a wonderful shloka that comes in the 3rd chapter.
Yep.
So the one that Tattvavittu, who knows this Tattva Bodha, he will be like knowing that guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. He will not involved in the action itself. And it has been told several ways in the Bhagavad Gita, in all these texts, that the one that's sleeping for all these individuals at that state, for the realized master, it would be like a waking state. And for waking state, for all the people, it would be as if like a sleep state for the realized master. All these were told only to tell that one that karmani akarmanya pashet akarmani cha karmayaha. So knowingly that doing is no doing, and that doesn't mean that not doing, by not doing we can be like not doing. Really we are doing in there also. All these have been given in very wonderful way to enlighten us, to question ourselves in each and every point. And this is a wonderful question. Every time that we need to ask that, why Arjuna asks Bhagavan the same thing. Why you are asking me to do? If Jnana is the greatest thing, I can know it, and I can also take sannyas.
It's like you know, diamond only can break diamond. So through action we gained all this, like through pure past action we have accumulated vasana. So same action we have to break that. So same with changing our attitude. Just change the attitude and start exhausting our vasanas. We have gained all this vasana, this impression, this negative thing, everything, action, doing karma, whatever. Same thing with us doing action, we can eliminate or like exhaust this vasana. This is one way of, I mean, I don't know how far it is true.
I think the other thing is, as long as you have the body, not doing action is not an option. You cannot. Yeah, I think that resonated, you know. But what you do is, even with your ego bhav, right? I mean, still, but not doing action is not an option, really. I mean, what are we going to do? Even if you sit down, we'll be thinking.
True. Nice. Same, everybody is quoting from 3rd and 4th chapter. Same, you see the answers are there already. Even Krishna says, right? If I remain quiet, what will happen to the world? So now we are a Gnani, Grihastha Gnani. If you are quiet, what will happen to the world? You're just as a model, at least you, of course, karma gave you purity, karma yoga gave you purity. You don't need action, fine, that's fine. But just for the loka, kalyanam, you know, if you are capable of doing it, if you are healthy, if you are fit, nothing wrong. But as everybody nicely put it, you are not really the doer, right? And the screen, right? The screen need not escape from the movie just because some violence is going on the screen. Screen wants to run away. No, you are the screen. Screen welcomes everything, right?
I just add one point there. So like Manoj said, right, you have a body, action is inevitable. Even if you sit without doing anything, there is some action within you. So action is inevitable. It will come into your existence. the very fact that you asked that question, right, will eliminate the entanglement of the action. For example, let's say somebody who has not read Vedanta at all, he will continue doing his action. He will get involved into that activity, success, failure, emotions, happiness, sorrows, money, no money, all that will come into, and he will fall into that trap of those, fluctuations. If you know that all this is not real, it will save you from that entanglement. You will just continue doing your action without getting entangled into that trap.
Nicely put. That's perfectly put.
Yeah, it's actually a very difficult process, because when you do action, entanglement is very, very natural. It happens unconsciously. But if you're conscious of this fact that this framework is not real, then it'll maintain that detachment from the consequences of your action. So action is inevitable. It's just that it will separate you from getting psychologically affected by the consequences of the action if you understand the answer to the question you have asked.
Perfect. So as one nicely put. So karma won't affect you once you understand that framework of action, inaction. That jnana gives you that strength. Yes. So as one Acharya puts it, you have defanged the snake. So it just karma doesn't bite you anymore.
That's exactly what Krishna said to Arjuna, right? Arjuna was crying, saying that, why do I kill all my relatives? What will I get out of it? Krishna said, boss, you think you are killing. They are already dead. So just do your duty. You leave the rest of it. Don't get entangled by the consequences of your action. You're a warrior. You kill. That's it. The rest I'll take care. So something like that. So in order to protect ourselves from the consequences of our action, this knowledge of Vedanta facilitates that detachment.
That's correct in the beginning. That's correct, very correct in the beginning. And the pinnacle is that one. I mean, Aparna's question goes beyond. If we think that one, okay, why Sthita Prajna works? And there is no doer. There is no doership. And Chandrasekhar mentioned that Loka Sangrahamevapi are for the benefit of everybody and all. But why should he work? What is Loka Sangraha? Loka is Mithya. He knows that it is Mithya. So he has made those comments that seems like solid and all. It is no more solid, but of course he goes through the doors only. He don't go through the walls. How he goes through the doors only? Why don't he go through the walls? He's doing something. He's finding out where is the door and going through that. Think about it. Answer is within.
Actually, I have a follow-up question on what you just said, Kishore sir. Is it right, Kishore?
Yeah, Kishore.
Sir, like...
Kishore is fine. No, sir. We are all chicks.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's a habit. Even
I feel younger, my friend.
Kishore, see, in our life, after we are born, up to a certain stage, when we are children, we are just doing what our parents are asking to do, right? A point comes in your life when you can actually start making choices for yourself, right? So what if I choose, not to do anything, just sit? So
you can't, you can't. That's what I think Manoj has made it clear. No one can. Sarira yatra pichate na prasiddhet akarmanaha. Even to carry over this body, we have to work. No other go. Gurudev says it wonderfully. When can you stop action? When you are under the ground. He says that when you are up on the ground, there is no stopping of action. It is only possible when you are under the ground.
But I can limit the action, right?
Oh yeah, that is also action. That's what has been told in the Nakarmanad Anarambhat Naishkarmyam Purushoshnate. It is very clearly told that one Naishkarmya will not going to come to you by not starting any action. You will be acting in the mind. I don't want to do anything. Kartum sekyum, akartum sekyum, anyatha kartum sekyum. All the three are actions only. I can do it this way or that way, and or I don't want to do it. My wife wants me to do this thing. I don't want to do this. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
My wife is just behind me, so I was taking her.
Keep some distance.
Yeah. I saw her walk in, say Hari Om to Raji.
And keep a shield, usually. Hari Om.
You know, all of them, I think some of them at least.
I think, yeah.
Raji, you didn't forget me yet, right?
None of you. Hari Om, Manu.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Okay. She will join the class from next week onwards.
Wonderful, wonderful. We need more wisdom from more wise people.
Yeah, she is my better half. So
good, good. So that is always better.
We know that, Kishore. You don't have to say it.
Wonderful.
So shall we? Oh, what is the time? Oh, yeah. So Brahma, fine. That karma. So non-binding karma is anyway you can always do. Non-binding, that's what they say. Acharyas, they keep on saying non-binding because karma always binds us. Definitely, yes. That low-level karma that we do before even the karma yoga, it always binds different types of actions. That's why sannyasa ashrama is also recommended in a way. But we can be antara sannyasis. Gruhasthas can be antara sannyasis. Why are you afraid of karma? Yes, it is impure, they say, fine. It binds us, fine. But don't be afraid of it. Because we have purified to a large extent so that it doesn't bite us or bind us. Because that's why sannyasa ashrama, in a way, facilitates the transition fast into the Gnana Yoga level. That is good, maybe. But then, in Gruhastha also, because it's ashrama. That's why it's called ashrama is their word. We can grow. We can be antara sannyasis. Sannyasis have that facility. That's nice. They take sannyasa ashrama so that as a big right, but so that their the progress is faster. They say. So that's why in our tradition, sannyasa ashrama is recommended for gnana. Before that, karma yoga. But then we don't have to renounce actions because the sannyasi also is different. He's also doing many actions, right? Many ashramas he is setting up. Even in vyavaharika karmas is involved in. Many politics is also involved in these so-called sannyasis we have seen now, right? So nothing wrong. What about us grihasthas? Okay, don't worry. So once we gain that purity, they don't bind us. Anybody else? Anything? I'll call crystal clear now. So no amount of color can affect the crystal now, right? Color belongs to that color only. Crystal is pure. Why are you afraid? Let any amount of color come close to me. Any amount of impurity in karma through thoughts come to me. I am not that impurity. I am that. That is what Gnanam, strength. That is what Nididhyasanam gives us, that strength. Right? That's why Nididhyasanam is important. Meditation, that Nididhyasanam. Meditation means not going into the deep samadhi, no. That Nididhyasanam, what we learn, we reflect. Right? We bring it to our meditations again and again. The knowledge that we gained from the Guru and Shastra. All right? Anything? 10:28. We can go for, you want to go for 5 more because there is no next session today, no Vedic chanting session. You want to continue or 10 more minutes? What? So waking state, everybody's in waking state still, right? Everybody in Jagrat? Okay. So this is Gnani is a waking sleeper actually. You know what? They say Gnani is a waking sleeper. Sushuptavat Jagrati. That we will understand next when we go to Sushupti. Okay. Okay. Shall we go to the Swapnavastha? I mean, not literally. I mean, for analysis. Don't go into Swapna place. Okay. Who wants to do? We can start and then we can, at least you can, 5 more minutes. Who wants to do?
Okay, I'll read the verse.
Yes, doesn't do.
Swapnavastha keti chet jagrat avasthayam yat drishtam yat shrutam tajjanita vasanaya no?
No, Vasanaya, correct.
Vasanaya nidra samaye yah prapanchah pratiyate sa swapnavastha सूक्ष्म शरीराभिमानी आत्मा तैजस इत्युच्यते. For the question, what is the dream state? The explanation is the world that is projected while in sleep from the impressions born of what was seen and heard in the waking state is called the dream state. The self identified with the subtle body is called Taijasa.
See, self-identified. Another name for the consciousness here. Same consciousness. The same consciousness that was in waking. Same thing in Swapnavastha. It's called Taijasa.
So in waking it was Vishwa. Here it is called Taijasa.
Correct. Actually, you can also add another pair to it. Vishwa, at the micro it is Vishwa, at macro it is Virat. At micro Taijasa, macro, we all read this. Unfoldment, I think also you've seen. Kindle Life, Hiranyagarbha. Taijasa, Hiranyagarbha, that pair at the macro level. And the deep sleep is Prajna, Ishvara, that pair. So all these pairs have these names. The consciousness associated with these pairs have these names: Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. So what is the raw material for the dream? What does it say?
Impressions born of what was seen or heard in the waking state.
And
so
what is the name? Vasanas. Yep.
That impressions, those impressions are what we see in the dream state.
Okay. So Vasanas is a raw material for the dream objects, for the dream world. So does dream give us new experiences? According to this definition, in dream, do we have totally new experiences?
No,
or just
it is already seen.
But many people say I have never seen this in my life. It's a totally new experience in dream. He says no. Whatever.
But that's not correct, right?
It's not correct? Okay.
But I mean, because see, in one of the talks, Gurudev also states that, I have seen elephant wearing high heels and a frock and then dancing. Right? It is impossible. In the real world, I have not seen that one. But what has actually happened was, I saw my daughter in frock and my wife walking in high heels. And so I went to a dance program and saw somebody else dancing. These three things mixed together has become that. So it is not as it is, but probably a combination of the waking state, different experiences jumbled together, probably is getting projected as a dream state.
You gave the answer, jumbled together. That is what, right? That's it. It's just rearrangement.
I shot into my foot.
It is just rearrangement of your memories. Maybe from a previous Janma also, maybe.
No, but my question is, so if it is such a jumbled thing, right? Where is the Vasana here?
Oh, okay. Where is the Vasana? Where? In
the dream state, like what is the role of Vasanas there?
What is the definition? What do you see in the definition?
Huh? So the definition says it is the projection of the experiences from the waking state.
Oh.
But it is not the projection of Vasanas. Right? So does that mean Vasanas are accumulated only from the waking state and not from dream state?
In dream state, you don't create anything new at all. Understand that. In fact, no vasanas are created in dream state. Vasanas you acquire.
Okay.
You acquire in waking state. Or of course, you vasanas from your Purva Janma also fine. That is also.
So you have to either exhaust, acquire, or experience vasanas only in the waking state. You don't have any of them in the dream state.
Okay, Shastra also says maybe as an exception, maybe dreams also serve as a method to exhaust certain vasanas. Certain. We have seen that Shastras do say that.
Can I say something? So
yes.
So the definition of vasanas, right, in layman terms is it has two aspects to it. One is your accumulation of data through the sense of objects.
Oh.
Now this accumulation is not restricted to the life you know just in this, but it's accumulation over a period of time, over many life births. Now, one aspect is that data, and the second aspect is your habitual patterns of the mind, how it constructs using that data. So you have data plus your habitual patterns of the mind. Now this habitual patterns of the mind actually becomes unconscious after some time, meaning you don't even have to make an effort, it runs on its own. That's the activity of the mind, right? So the same vasanas, which is data plus the behavioral patterns of the mind, which it has got used to on an unconscious way, works in the waking state. Also the same content works in the dream state. And if you see these habitual patterns, right, the combinations are infinite. Like you just said, right, the elephant, heels and all that stuff. You have seen elephant, you have seen heels, and some part of your mind constructed the combination of these two components. You can actually imagine that combination in a waking state, or you can have that combination in your dream state. So vasanas are actually the result of whatever we are experiencing in the awake state. They are also responsible for what we see in the dream.
True.
Is that answer fine?
Anybody else
Yeah.
want to add? Ah.
Just a little this one that's correct, but the data is not the whole data. I mean to say the impressions of our own self. That means the vasana is something like a tint of me is there in that. So that each experience has a residue. That's what we are calling vasana. Each experience, there is an experiencer, that I am the experiencer. I might be having a dream experience in the dream or a waking experience in the waking state and no experience in the deep sleep state. But the experiencer is the one that who is having the residue of all these experiences. And they become the vasanas. Not all the data that how far is moon from here or how far is the nebula from here. I mean, the Milky Way nebula. The things are like objective knowledge doesn't have any matter there. That's why you can see that one that is going, as our friend Indivar told, that I saw high heels dancing and all that stuff. This objective knowledge got no place there. I think I can have wings, I can have horns, and I will be flying and I will be jumping from building to building in my dream. Whereas, I mean, logically, the data doesn't mean anything, but me as myself, the residues of my own experiences have been projecting them with the impressions which are not complete. Those impressions have been projecting them in the dream. That's why it is called Taijasa. Taijasa means and the like deva, like resplendent. So it is like a projection. And the waking mind itself has been projecting the dream. And in that, what matters is not the math, what we know in the waking state will be working there.
So the definition itself is that impressions born of what was seen, shrutam, what was heard in the waking state is called a dream state. So those are vasanas. Right. So with that, yes, Raja, go ahead.
Yeah, this dream state is in between a wake state and deep sleep. So this deep sleep, unless we have the deep sleep, we cannot have the glimpse of that pure self. So this is moving towards actually towards a deep sleep state. So these projections of wakefulness are playing in the dream state. Only thing is we have to pass that and go into the deep sleep state to have that glimpse of that self.
That glimpse we can have only after waking up, of course. That I had that glimpse of that Ananda. Yes, of course.
Kishore, can you repeat your point? Like I'm not able to understand that.
Okay. I mean, the point is, you're right that there is a lot of data in our long-term memory and the short-term memory as we go through the things, the objective learnings and all that stuff. But there is an experiencer in each of these going. The experiencer is the one that who is storing the vasanas. The vasana storage is to the experiencer where he is there. I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want this. So we will divide our experiences into those things, and that is what is our habitual pattern, indirectly what you said. But the scientific data or the objective data that what we store a lot in our memory is not a hindrance, that is not vasanas. The objective memory is just facilitates the experiences, but not interferes into the very creation of this world, either in the waking state or dream state also. I want to say that one because in the waking state also we do the dream-like thing only. It is an extension of that one. What we have done based on that, we try to do more what we like, and we do try to get away from what we don't like. And that will be continuing in the dream state also, the things that which will come.
I think
The
where
question is
Shashank is coming from is like in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks if somebody leaves the dhyanam in this life and goes to the next life, then it is said that he will carry that. So similarly, the data he's meaning is any knowledge that you gain. You see child prodigies. How can somebody become a mathematician directly? They carry that. I think in that sense, he meant the word data.
No, yeah, that's fine. But I'm actually trying to point my focus more on the word which you said, experiencer. I'm trying to understand that part of it.
Because he was telling you data is not vasanas. The simple line is his argument was data is not vasanas.
That is correct. Data is not vasanas. The one thing that where I is involved in that data, there is some data which is near to us, near and dear, that I like, I don't like, those tags that which we tag them, that becomes the vasana, and those will propel us to do the things or not to do the things in the waking state. Yeah.
When I say habitual pattern, this habitual pattern is nothing but constructed by the experience. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
You are right.
So actually, right, both of you are talking about probably the same thing, but using different words. When he means data, the word used tag, right, is actually referring to the same tags as data. That's why probably there is a confusion. So,
I got it.
It is again, it is not the thoughts, so many things that we are referring here. It is the experience which is causing the tag. I mean, our reaction to that our thought that we got, that becomes the tag, that he is calling as data. I think that is why it's the same thing but different words.
Yeah, thank you. I got it.
Okay. So basically, dream requires vasana abhimanam. Vasana abhimanam means subtle body. So mind have the samskaras, what they call. We can debate on what forms the samskaras with just the objective data. We can debate, but let's move on. So samskaras not only of this Jagrat Prapancha, but all previous Jagrat Prapanchams. How many previous Jagrat Prapanchams I must have gone through, right? Many Purva Jagrat Prapanchams. Not only in this life, many lives. So a set of vasanas become a dream. Not all vasanas, not all. Okay. But then we learn many lessons from these. So we'll see how we are different from this body. Same thing can be extrapolated to the waking state. How I create this dream world, but I am not that. How I am asanga, that asangatvam, right? All those things we learn, the nice lessons. So I am not I am experiencing the mind, but I am not the mind, right? Same thing can be applied to the waking state, right? All the emotions that we experience, all the upheavals that we go through, you are not that, you are just observing it, right? So your wife might, if your wife is in some kind of a, right? Not wife, let's say spouse. So here, let's keep some distance and then talk. See, you are not that sorrow you're experiencing, going through a lot of pain. You gave me, see, nothing. That is not your pain. You are not the pain. You are separate from the pain. Don't say close to it. Just keep some distance and say, see, right? So experiencer is always separate from the experienced. That lesson we learn from Sukshma also will apply to it, to waking state.
One wonderful thing in dream is that you are projecting it. So the dreamer is the one, the waking mind of the dreamer is the one projecting the dream. So everything, the whole prapancha has been projected by this mind. As in the waking state, when it comes to a waker, the dream wife of mine is not the wife that whom I am facing. I mean, I may need to argue with her, but yeah.
Yes, there.
No. So the question is that one, the dream wife might be different, very nice to me and all the stuff, serving very the question is that one, she's not here, she's gone. Okay. So the question here is that the mind that projects there, the dream is different. And Rajni ji brought a wonderful, this one, that carrying this mindset into the next birth and all. That is a deeper, really to talk about. It requires, I think, a separate time for that one, but we can talk about that one. But here, we're not talking about that kind of carrying, the transmigration process. This is like a smaller migration of this I, which goes from, when we see that with Anvaya Vyatireka, that is a prakriya that we see, we are getting disconnected from the physical body. All our golakas are with the physical body, so we are not interacting with the world. But still, I have projected the whole world. And that whole world is projected by my mind, Sukshma Sarira. And I'm enjoying that one. Myself, I am me there, and all of you are there. I have been having wonderful discussions, and my wife says that one, stop it and all the stuff. Okay, all these things are part of that my mind alone. Knowing that one, if that is possible, understanding the waking state will become much easier.
Right.
The sadhana will become more clearer. So swapna state of experience or the dream state of experience, understanding that one will help us, our sadhana in the waking state. And the same thing with the deep sleep.
Right. Actually, a dream, swapna avastha, is a model for understanding punarjanma also. Shastra clearly explains it, how the swapna dream state is a nice model to understand how we transmigrate to a different bodies. See, this is body. How I take a different body in dream, totally different. Swapna shariram, swapna prapancham I create. The swapna padartha is different. Same thing happens in the next life. The model for understanding punarjanma principle also. You can apply that there also. We'll see that next week. Okay.
Suppose I don't have dreams at all. So, is it
you don't have dreams? Okay.
You don't have punarjanma at all. Don't worry.
I get dreams only when I have fever. Otherwise, I don't get dreams.
Actually,
I don't sleep till I get really tired.
To go to deep sleep, also the corridor is dream actually. We can't directly go to deep sleep without it. Maybe some dream will be there. That's what Shastra says. Actually, Rajni, maybe you...
It could be a small corridor for her, very narrow, small corridor.
Okay, we'll take it up next time. Hari Om.
Hari.
Sure, we can't hear you. Are speaking on mute.
Sorry, it is not required that we need to remember the dreams. But at the same time, I think dream is something of the mind that projects, not my willingful action that which I want to do.
So basically, you don't have control on your dreams, but you have control on your waking state actions.
Dream is not by your free will, correct? Because your free will is not involved. So it is all by prarabdham only. What dreams come, you can't ask, oh, Ishvara, give me this dream, you can't ask. Okay? That is only prarabdham. Okay.
indirectly you can control what you do in the waking state. I mean, those are the ones that are coming in especially. So I think whatever you think of good, think of doing all the best things, think of realization, that will come in the dream.
Okay. Yeah. So what dream proves is not I am different from this body costume. This is just a costume, right? But different from the mind also, because it is I only created. Okay. We'll see more analysis. Will we end it here? Anybody? Those who didn't wants to comment anything? Final comments? Those who are happily in Turiya Avastha. I won't say Sushupti also. Turiya, I would say. The fourth stage. Those who are in Turiya, please come out now to Jagrat. Of course, you can't come out. Turiya is always there in all three avasthas, right? That's what you would say. Anuradhaji, you're on mute. Okay. Hari Om. Anybody else? Oh, Anuradha, Anuji, you're speaking. You're saying something. You're on mute.
Yeah.
You're saying something. You're on mute. You're on mute.
We'll have Shanti Pat.
Okay. That's nice. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Ayo. I don't know what to say, but we'll see next week if Swamiji joins. Somebody else have to contact him now. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om to all.
Hari Om.